Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depends how you look at it. We're going to discuss about Miss Annalena Baerbock, the still foreign minister of Germany, the top diplomat, the one that knows everything about history, geopolitics, having charisma, psychology, and so on. I'm just kidding, obviously. I think she's an infantile at best. But what happens? She might be the chief of the United Nations. So Miss Berbock is going from somewhere where she already surpassed her condition as a mollusk into being the foreign minister of the used to be great country of Germany. Remember, Germany lost its balls in 1945. They're still rolling down the hill. I don't know if Germany will ever be able to get them back unless Alternative für Deutschland doesn't get in power. So, Baerbock, who already is in a way above her head position as a foreign minister of Germany, she is demanding Russia to accept the ceasefire. She demands Russia. That's the first topic. The second one, she might be appointed by Germany to be the United Nations General Assembly chair. Now, this is wrong. This is very much wrong. If we still believe in meritocracy and in developing progress, getting bigger, stronger, better, then this is not an example. This is an example that doesn't confirm this so-called rule where the strong will beat the weak. Now, how could Annalena Baerbock be strong? I will explain in the context of the Germany's permanent stationing troops in close to the Russian border. So the Germans, who after the Second World War were not allowed to station anything, right now they have a military base very close to Russia after the Second World War. And in that context, plus Annalena Baerbock, I will paint this picture. How an alien group from a country or from this could take over such big countries and rule certain areas on this planet. And I will explain the dynamics, how they will use strong countries that they will take over, how they will destroy those countries' spirit and identity, and then they will maneuver those countries, only the strong countries, in fulfilling their bidding, doing their job. All right, you know who I'm talking about? All right, so let's start with Baerbock. This comes from DPA International. Germany's Baerbock demands Russia accept ceasefire without condition. This thing here, right here, this thing right here. She demands that Russia, how do you call it, unconditionally accepts ceasefire. Well, I can't make it bigger because, right? So, first, Germany is not in a position to tell anybody anything unless it's, I don't know, Germany. Right? So she demands that person who's outgoing, but she's not even going to move laterally. She's going to move higher. Remember, for these people who are foreign ministers and do the job, like Maria Callas of Finland, I think she is from Finland, isn't she? She was from a foreign minister or whatever she was in Finland, that she is the same level as with Baerbock and with Liz Truss, the same level. And I can use also Mr. Blinken, but Blinken was a little bit more knowledgeable. I give him about 3% knowledgeable than the other three baboons. So these three, Trussam, Drussam, Grussam, Bussam, these guys are moving up. Liz Truss should have never been the foreign minister of Great Britain. She became the prime minister, and then bing. And then what happened to Baerbock? Baerbock is not going to move laterally. She's going to move up, United Nations General Assembly chairwoman. How is this possible? And Maria Callas from Finland, moved to be the top foreign minister, diplomat of the European Union. From Finland, she became the diplomat of about 470 million people, the European Union. Can you believe this? How? It's clear these people are not knowledgeable. These guys are not, they're not there. How come they're over there? Well, you put them over there so you can maneuver them, obviously. So that's the first one with Annalena Baerbock. Next one, and I'm going to show you how Maria Zakharova, who should be actually in charge. Maria Zakharova. We have Baerbock right there. This comes from Sputnik. Diplomatic disaster. Russian foreign minister spokeswoman skewers Berbock's nightmare bid for UNGA chair. This person right here. And Maria Zakharova is everything you want for a competent foreign minister. The German government plans to nominate Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock as its candidate for the chair of the United Nations General Assembly during the 2025-2026 session. That means she's going to be in charge over there, presiding. Media reports indicated earlier. Just envisioning Annalena Baerbock as chair of the UN General Assembly drew a snap response from Maria Zakharova. Correct. And I'm look at this. Maria Zakharova is going to tell you exactly how Berbock is. And I'm quoting Makarova. How could someone with such a limited grasp of reality possibly lead the United Nations for an entire year? The number of diplomatic disasters she's provoked, thanks to her own ignorance of history, diplomacy, facts would be enough to make any sane person cringe. I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Unbelievable. And these are all kind of little things that are just taking a jab of this person. How is that possible? In a world that we're told get better because getting better skills, like training, practicing is gonna ensure that in fair competition with everybody else, only the creme de la creme will be there. We're told that democracy is the best systems we ever had. And the kings and the dukes and the counts and all those guys were just fat fucks sitting over there, and the poor peasants were working for them. But it was about fighting. They took their fucking sword and went chopping heads. And the peasants were like, ugh. Just kidding. Anyway, so democracy told us is going to give us the creme de la creme. This is the creme de la creme. Who's in charge of Germany? Scholz. He's a 3 out of 10. As an individual, the way I saw his statements, his behavior in public, I saw him move, talk, look around. He's unbelievably weasel. Then you have Annalena Baerbock, Liz Truss, Sunak, Boris Johnson, Starmer, what's his name? David Lemmy, the French-British defense minister. Who are these people? Who are these guys? Macron with all those young soybean beta guys around him. Le Cornu and another one, I can't remember his name, right? Baron, something like that. Who are these people? And they're supposed to be in charge of the great countries. Who controls this selection and who controls these countries? And that gets me to the third topic, and that would get me to the conclusion. Here. Insider. Germany is permanently stationing troops in another country for the first time since World War II. So Germany is allowed, they're losers, like over there, you can see back there, they're losers. These guys cannot find shit. that, I don't think so. Yes, man, I'm stereotyping, what do you want? I do that, why? Alright, so these guys are going to be deployed in Lithuania. It's putting thousands of soldiers in Lithuania, a NATO member state, at the borders of Russia. Let me show you the map. It's an easy map for everyone to see. Russia, and Russia. This is Kaliningrad. This is Lithuania. This is Europe. So this is Germany. So this is Lithuania, borders Russia in Kaliningrad, not the main Russia right here. Now let me show you a more professional one. Okay? So we have here Kaliningrad, Russia, this is Poland, right? This is Lithuania, this is Russia again. The Germans are allowed militarily to expand, but forget their identity and hate themselves. Why? So they cannot notice the obvious, like Zakharova said about this baboon, what's her name? Baerbock. Limited grasp of reality. Wasn't that what she said? Diplomatic disaster, tax, own ignorance as well would be enough. Where's that? Limited grasp of reality. So the Germans are allowed to expand because Germany is strong, but with weasel weak people, with no German identity, erased, and self-hatred. Blame game was played on them until 1945. By whom exactly? Now that gets me to the conclusion, all this showing you how an entity in other countries as an alien entity will pass as being unseen, but we pull the strings. How do you do it? Like another person. If someone is strong, you have to make that person feel weak. That means you destroy that person's belief in himself, in what he is, in his competitions that he won, in how strong he was in those past fights, how much he trained, how much potential he has around other people. So you destroy that. You tell them, your history sucks, you are a bad dude all the time, you owe someone else all the time. Remember, these guys are jumping on strong countries. They don't need to jump and harness Romania or Albania or Czech Republic or Hungary. No, they get straight to the manager, the top manager, the CEO. That's what they own. And those guys will impose to the small countries. I'm going to explain. United States of America, Great Britain, Germany, and France. You don't need anybody else in Europe and in the world. They can't get the Chinese because they don't look Chinese. So it's very hard to do that. But they will try. They tried in Russia and they got kicked out by Putin. That's why these guys are fighting Russia through Ukraine. That's why. Now, how do you do that? You destroy the fighting spirit. In a fight, when you fight, if you lose the fighting spirit, regardless how big you are, that's why people say, oh, the gentle giant. No, the gentle giant doesn't know his potential. That's what it is. Because probably he was beaten back in his head that he is bad, he's a bully, he's something. So he's going to pretend he's nice because they say so. But they were going to use this giant, United States of America, which is not a gentle giant, just to say it, but they will use it to fix their things with Iran. They did with Iraq, they did with Afghanistan, they did with Libya, they did with every surrounding countries in the Middle East. For what exactly? Well, you know for what, and that gets me to the who's who and what is what. So this is what you do with a country. You tell this country through the media, you build guilt through the media, entertainment, schools, academia, with experts and PhDs showing off at the media promoted by the same guys, and you hit the generation after generation from childhood. You hit them with, you suck, you have a problem, you own, you are a bad dude, you are guilty of something you haven't done, collective punishment, that is, not in the Greco-Roman law, but in a different kind of law. That's why we call themselves Judeo-Christian now. I'm not Judeo-Christian whatsoever. You can be how much you want. I'm Greco-Roman. That's what I am. If you want to be that one, do collective punishment as much as you want. When they tell you and they point out who needs to be hurt. No, not everyone, because you can't turn that against them. That's the justice they like. So what do we have here? You destroy a country's identity. They don't know who the hell they are, but you make them work like hamsters. They get potential. Germany has potential, and they will harness the potential to fix their things against Russia, against Iran, against whomever they want. That's how you do it, my friends. And you open the doors for baboons like Berbock and others, promote them in positions of power, or like Zelensky Stein in Ukraine. You open the doors, push everybody with threats to the side, not the kind of money. And then they win. And then they're going to do what you told them to do, what they know what they have to do, because they know who paid them. They know who opened the door for them. And then they will do their bidding. They don't have to, as I said, go over Romania or Albania. They go to the big countries, and the big countries will gonna tell the small countries what to do. In European Union, who's the boss? Germany. France tries a little bit over there. Great Britain is in and out all the time. So these three countries are owned. What do you want? What do you want? They don't have to get Austria, punk, 9 million people, or how much is Austria, something like that. You don't need that. You get what? 82 million people. Germany, 65 or something. France, 60 some or 50, 60 some. Great Britain. You take these countries. No, Italy. Why? Italy is unnecessary to these guys. Why? Just watch Second World War. You don't wanna. All right, here it is, my friends. Annalena Baerbock tells Russia to have an unconditional surrender. Annalena Baerbock. And she's promoted. She's way ahead of her position, her condition of a mollusk. Infantile at best. Maria Zakharova, I would definitely appoint her by her capacity, what she proved to be, how she speaks, how she thinks as a foreign minister of European Union, or I don't know, somewhere in the United Nations. And she will get that position if these guys don't her. After Lavrov, she's the one. And I'm very happy about it for them. So that you say meritocracy works in Russia, but doesn't work in the United States of America. Look who you got here. Look at the previous administration. Who are those people? Biden, Kamala Harris. Look at Karine Jean-Pierre, the baboon spokesperson for the White House brief. Oh my God. Who? Blinken. What was the other one? I always forget the little guy. Bald-headed, like looking like a weasel, like Fred Astaire. What's his name, man? Schiller. It's not Schiller. That's Goethe and Schiller. Come on now. All right, my friends, here it is. This is supposed to be democracy. This is the result of democracy, the mass democracy. Something is wrong. It's a parallel method of electing or selecting leaders. We are just over here with pretense we're voting, and if we would vote, we would vote something that is good. And in a system, sometimes you go, let's say in your office, wherever you work, and you look at some manager or supervisor and you think, how in the hell this person got this job? How was this person promoted? Maybe program manager or whatever you want to call the people over there. And you think, how in the hell? If you immediately know that the process of selecting those guys is wrong. Those meritocracy doesn't play a role. That you can understand how inefficient the company is, because those baboons that were posted over there, they're not the ones. I'm like Bernie Sanders right now. They are not over there based on meritocracy. So that means they're gonna certain things they will just go in and out without these guys computing it. Therefore, they're going to miss opportunities for the company. That's why when I say, well, you are reparations, you are appointed on positions where you actually defrauded the companies. Why did you defraud the companies? Because of your you should not be on that position. Let's put it clearly. So don't give me the reparations. And anyway, I can go more and more and more. Look at Obama. He was raised by whom? And he considers himself what? Reparations to those parents, the grandparents who raised him. Where is daddy? Where is daddy? And where is mommy? Mommy was somewhere else and daddy was somewhere else pumping gas into the car, right? And the grandparents, okay, poor Obamika. The same, you want Alicia Keys, the singer? Huh? You want that? And many others, Ice Cube. All these guys who are so they all be raised by parents, grandparents, because the other side decided that they have a lot of love to give. You want reparations? I want reparations. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Annalena Baerbock. God damn it.